Alright, new gear. Alright, so I'm heading off on the Pacific Crest Trail soon. If you're unaware, it's 2,650 miles from the Mexican border all the way up through California, Oregon, and Washington to the Canadian border. It's a very long hike, and it's a hike I've attempted in the past. So I do have some insight when going into this as to how the first 1,000 miles are going to be. And of course, I've hiked a lot elsewhere. And something I'm always interested in and something I'm always trying to fiddle with and try and change is the gear I use. Still some decisions to be made before a full gear list could be complete, but these are some changes that I've made. And we'll get into this. So, 7 years now I've been wearing wind pants on thru hikes. And I've actually been wearing the same exact pair of wind pants on thru hikes. I've been wearing the Montbell Tachyons. I've never had to replace them, but I've had to sew them so many times. So finally I've replaced them. I'm so tired of sewing them, and at this point they are so ripped that they physically cannot be sewed anymore. Now what I've done here is I've replaced these with a really cheap alternative. The Montbell Tachyons cost like $100, and it's $100 for a very thin piece of fabric that is going to rip, that is going to break. So I've known about these and I've wanted to try them for so long. These are dance pants. These are dance pants. They're made for dancers. You can buy them very cheaply on Amazon or other retailers. And one thing is that these are going to be a little bit heavier than the Montbell ones, but they're also like $80 cheaper. Do I really want to spend like $80 more for 1 ounce less? I don't know. So these are something that I hike with in the cold mornings, something I'll hike with in the cold evenings, just something to block the wind, something to trap heat, and something that is extremely lightweight and something that packs down very, very small. Whereas with tights, I might overheat in tights, or tights are a little bit heavier. Tights may not pack down quite as small. So I've always been a huge fan of wind pants. Something else I've wanted to try for a long time, though, is I've wanted to try the Enlightened Equipment Copperfield wind pants. Because, again, those are cheaper than the Montbell wind pants, but they're as light as the Montbell wind pants. So these are going to be the cheapest possible alternative, and just for a little bit extra weight. So some cheap Amazon dance pants. I'll leave a link to these in the description. I'm bringing a trowel. I'm going to bring a trowel. This specifically is the Deuce of Spades. It's an ultralight trowel. It says right on it that it weighs 0.6 ounces. And with something like this, I can dig a hole. I can dig a hole more easily. Now, why am I bringing this on this trail when I haven't really brought it in the past? Well, the Pacific Crest Trail and pretty much most desert thru hikes, it is much harder to dig a hole. You can't just simply super easily dig it with your foot or dig it with a trekking pole. It's going to be difficult, and I feel like a trowel is very worth it to have for that reason, but also because the PCT has so many people that I remember when I was out there hiking the desert section in 2018, there was one time I'd gone off trail to a spot to use the restroom, well out of sight, whatever, and I went around this bush or this rock or something, and there was just like toilet paper everywhere. Like many hikers had gone there, and none of them were using trowels, or none of them were just digging a hole at all. So I'm bringing a trowel, the Deuce of Spades. It's very lightweight. It easily goes into the outer pocket of my backpack, so I can have easy access to it when needed. And yeah, I'm really excited to be bringing it. I'm really excited to be using it. So I really love sharing these trips, and I'm still going to be carrying a camera, of course, but I decided to downsize my camera a little bit. I love the camera I use. It films fantastic footage. It is so beautiful. The camera is easy to use. It is a Panasonic Lumix G7 with, I believe, a 12 to 35 millimeter lens, but it's big and it's bulky and it's heavy. So I've decided to change cameras for this hike. This is a Sony ZV-1. It is so much smaller than the camera I'm using now for thru hikes. It is so much lighter, and it seems to have a lot of the same functions. In some cases, it's even better because this camera has image stabilization. This camera does charge via a USB, which is great, and that's something my normal camera doesn't do, which means that I've always had to carry an extra little camera charger for the batteries themselves, but now I can charge my camera directly off of this battery, which is pretty incredible. It comes with this little tiny fuzzy microphone. So this is a Sony ZV-1, and we're going to see how that goes. So another thing that I'm just purely upgrading, or not upgrading, I'm replacing, and that would be my external battery. So this is what I'm going to use to charge my camera, to charge my cell phone, to charge my flashlight, you know, because a lot of gear these days is rechargeable, and that's fantastic because I can just bring a battery brick like this and charge everything off of it. This is a 20,000 milliamp hour battery. It is made by RavPower. I will say, before getting further into this, that there is a lighter, smaller, better option for most people. This would be the Nitecore 10,000 milliamp hour battery. Again, I'll leave links to both of these in the description. But the Nitecore NB 10,000 is all around pretty much the greatest battery you could possibly buy. And I could carry two of these, which would have the same capacity as this one, and it would be lighter than carrying this one. If this is truly the lightest, best option out there, why am I not using it? So I believe that this RavPower battery with this RavPower charging port is going to charge faster than the Nitecore one. You know, you're going to wind up staying in towns, you're going to wind up staying in hotels, you're going to wind up hanging out at restaurants that have outlets, so, you know, I don't think that the charging speed is that important for the vast majority of people. I just know through a lot of experience with myself that it is something extremely important to me. Anyway, so I'm pretty stoked on this. The battery I'd been using in the past was actually a little bit heavier than this while still having the same capacity. So this one is a little bit lighter for me than what I'm used to. It's just something cool that I'm stoked on, you know, because obviously I film these videos and energy and electricity is a big part of my hiking life. So now something I'm not too sure about yet is shoes, but right now the biggest contender for me is these Zero shoes. From the first time I put them on, they were like heaven on earth. You know, they feel better than any other shoe I've ever personally tried and put on. They are shaped for a foot, you know, so they've got a really wide toe box, it seems. You know, just nothing is super tight on my foot, and they feel amazing. Now, what I had used last year was the Merrell Trail Glove 6, and I really liked those too, but they were a little bit tighter on my foot, and I wasn't 100% sold on them. I'm going to do a lot more training and running and all that stuff to really figure it out before I go. But the Zero shoes, these are Mesa Trails. They are very minimalist shoes, so something to look into, but not really for everyone out there. I just thought it was worth showing. Now, the last kind of thing that I'm trying out, I'm testing, but I am 100% sold on, was a backpack. So I want to be able to carry more food. I want to have the option to carry more water. And so I got a larger backpack. So 37 liters, that is compared to the pack I was using, the Palante Joey, which has a volume of 24 liters. So this one is going to be able to fit extra water bottles in the side pockets here. You can see they can be cinched down or cinched tighter. It's going to be able to fit extra food in the main body. I'm going to be able to fit my camera in the little shoulder strap pockets for filming. You know, so this one is, I'm just like so stoked to use this pack. It looks great, the sewing is great, and this is the first time in like 8 years I've used one. But this pack has a stashable hip belt. So the hip belt is kind of hidden here, so you don't always have to use it, but you can for those long food carries. So say I'm leaving Kennedy Meadows and I'm trying to go all the way to like Mammoth or something, 200 miles with food and a bear can and all that. I now have a hip belt to help me with that. So carrying extra water, 4 or 5 liters of water, carrying extra food, I think these features in this pack is going to be perfect for that. The biggest takeaway here is just I wanted a pack with a little bit more volume. This may honestly be more than what I need, but I'm really excited to try it. I'm really excited to use it, and I feel like it's going to be perfect for something like the PCT, or maybe in the future, as I would like to do trails like the Haydu Trail or the Grand Enchantment Trail. I think this is going to be the perfect pack for that. Of course, I'm getting out on these local trails here. I'll be trying all this stuff out more to really dial things into exactly what I need. I'm setting off on the PCT come May. I'm really excited for all of this gear. I'm going through things. I'm trying to dial things in. I'm still eating good, still exercising a lot, still being very active, and we're going to see how everything goes. PCT round 2 is coming up.